Team Talent is presenting now, and Team Delaware will be presenting at 11:45. So, Team Talent.
Well, thanks for coming, everyone. Welcome to our presentation. We are Team Talent, and TALENT stands for Teens and Librarians Educating in New Technology. And I'd like to introduce our team. We have Renee O'Donnell, who is a librarian at the Wilmington Public Library, Bernadette Davis, who's a children's library specialist at the Brandywine 100 Library, Hope Ellsworth, who is an inspiration space coordinator, which is a great title, at the in Sussex County, and our mentor, Carl, who's sadly not here with us, but he's free spirit. He is also an inspiration space coordinator, but for Newcastle County. So, as I said, I haven't said it yet. I'm Jeannie Benzel. I'm the teen librarian at the Brandywine 100 Library in Newcastle County. And I've been the teen librarian there for almost exactly 10 years next month. And in my job, I'm usually stationed at the children's desk. And in that time, I've helped hundreds and possibly thousands of children learn to navigate the public computers there. And I imagine that when they sit down, the screen looks something like this. It's exciting, it's colorful. They know it means something, and they are determined to figure it out. They are curious, they are fearless, and I really don't have to do that much. I mean, they want me to show them once, and then they want to do it. So they're inspirational in that way. But sometimes I sit at the adult desk, and when adults who haven't had very much exposure to computers sit down, I think the screen maybe looks something more like this. Confusing, intimidating, maybe they're trying to do something really important like apply for a loan or figure out their taxes. And they require a lot more help than the children do. And the reality, as we all know, libraries, is that we're understaffed, and it's difficult to give adult patrons the kind of computer assistance that they really need and deserve from us. So, since I'm a teen librarian, I often, teens come to mind, and they're kind of at that in-between point where they're still really fearless, but their communication skills are a little better. And so what they need, and as I've observed, I work with them in the summer, primarily during summer reading, they really can use some hands-on professional experience in a workplace. They teach the younger children how to do the summer reading program, and over the course of the summer, their professional skills increase. So what we were looking at were these community needs. Assistance for library patrons who need more help than maybe we can give them because the library staff could use a little more support. And the teens can use some hands-on experience in the workforce as they're preparing to do just that. So, we thought, why not combine all these things? Now, we did have some inspiration. A couple of, I guess last year, year before, some of the Newcastle County managers took some trips to libraries across the country, and I believe out of the country as well, to observe best practices. And one of the programs that really sparked their interest was this T4 at the Brooklyn Public Library, where teen volunteers receive intensive training and then work as computer aides in a volunteer capacity, at least for some time. And while we really liked a lot of the ideas in this program, and we thought we could adapt it for use here in Delaware. And to speak more about that, Renee O'Donnell.
We thought, why reinvent the wheel? We're going to take things from Brooklyn, and we're going to kind of grow it and grow their concept here in Delaware. Now, we already have, part of every summer, the Newcastle County Summer Youth Program has an application process where youths aged 14 to 20 with an income eligibility can apply for a job for the summer with the county. Now, what the county does is they will hire those teens. They give them about a week's orientation and training, and then they deploy them to various sites throughout the county. And most sites usually get just 1 or 2 teens for whatever it is that they're needing them for the summer. And so we thought that what we would do is we would take these employees and we try them and use them as our pool of teens. So over the summer of 2015, I had 2 summer youth employees, and I thought I'd use them as like a mini experiment to just kind of see how would this work? What would be some of the hurdles? What would be some of the things we'd have to think about to actually incorporate this with the libraries? And I had a lot of fun with them. And most of the time, they did spend their time doing what we would consider traditional duties. They were shifting books, reshelving books, that sort of thing. But I tried to carve out some time where I would work with the green screen equipment with them. And whenever we would start working with the green screen equipment, their energy level would increase, they'd get really excited, and they would have a lot of fun with it. So looking back at this, there are 3 things that I thought we needed to take a look at. Number 1, we need new and basic technology. Whatever we teach them has to be accessible, and it has to be obtainable within 1 summer. What our patrons need is that basic computer skills. How to use Microsoft Word, how to use Excel, how do you set up a new email account. We did not want to assume that the teens already know that, but we wanted to cover the basics, not only so that we would know that they had that core knowledge, but so that they would feel so comfortable and confident in it that they could teach somebody else. But we know it's that new technology that gets the teens energized and really interested. And the general public too also just really loves playing around with new technology. So what we thought is we'd take 1 new technology component every summer and train them really well in that 1 new technology. And we want it to be fresh, something new every summer. So some ideas that we threw out there as concepts that could be that new technology could include 3D printing, music mixing, robotics, animation, drones. It could be almost anything that we could put our hands on. And the one thing that we needed to, again, do is just focus on the 1. Despite the fact that we love all that stuff, we have 1 summer with them. We also wanted to make sure that whatever we decided to be that new technology we dive into, that it would be accessible. Something that the public would be equally interested in, something that they could even do it yourself at home. So take, for example, the green screen equipment. You've got an expensive way that you could do it. Digital cameras, green screens, Adobe Elements, Premiere software, live action with actors. But you could do it inexpensively as well. You could do it with a camera phone. You could use it with a green sheet of paper, YouTube's movie editor, or even stop action instead of live action. So one of the things that me and the teens explored was a software called SparkleCam. And what it allows you to do is give you that augmented reality where you can take your green screen and you can change the background and also add special features to whoever's in front of that green screen. So you can see you can change the hair color, you can add sunglasses. And so the summer employees had a really fun time. And we just put it out in the youth services department, and we let the kids who were there kind of like play around with it, and we let the teens kind of run the software and add, goofy stuff, and they had a blast. So as the summer wore on, though, it became increasingly difficult for me to carve out time to work on this special equipment with them. And I will say my one regret was not just assigning them to work on it independently and just say, go crazy and see what you can come up with. So, but overall, it was a great experiment to run.
So we do feel that the teens are a viable pool of talent that we want to harness and use in the libraries, but it is going to take some training. So as with any type of training, we need to focus on best practice for learning and teaching. So there's going to be an element where they're learning something new. There's going to be a tremendous amount of hands-on practice, and then finally applying what they've learned to really cement it and to pass it. However, we know that teens are an unusual and unique group of human beings, so they are going to need something a little different than the rest. So while their training, as Renee said, will include a large chunk of technical content from the basics to the new, we have to make sure that at least a third of their training are on these professional soft skills, and another third is on the methods of teaching and how do you impart knowledge to someone else in an effective manner. These soft skills we're referring to are the skills that are expected in a professional environment. How to speak, how to make eye contact, how to handshake, how to dress, how to present yourself. And unfortunately, these soft skills are pretty counterintuitive to a teen's most basic hardwired behavior. Must not make eye contact is pretty much written into the teen's DNA. So these soft skills they have to be explicitly taught. We have to address their appearance. How much makeup are they wearing? How much jewelry can they wear? Because what's acceptable in a social situation doesn't really fly in a professional situation. You can have your own answer to this. But these are the skills that have to be explicitly taught, and a significant amount of time of their training has to be dedicated to these soft skills. In addition to their appearance are their behaviors. They need to pace themselves. This is an acronym we could all use. To be patient with themselves and with the patrons, no matter how long it takes. You need to be articulate. It's very difficult to hear a teen talking when you need to ask them to enunciate over and over and over again. It's a skill they need to practice to get over. They need to be courteous and they need to be enthusiastic whether they feel it or not. We all know these are professional skills. For some teens, this is their very first time in a professional environment and they're being expected to behave this way. So again, we have to carve these out. We have to carve time out specifically for this and dedicate it to teaching these skills. The third element then is the basics of teaching. How are we going to be turning these teenagers into teachers in a very short amount of time? We're going to go with the SEL approach. They're going to be told to show what it needs to be taught. They're going to be told to explain what it is that they're showing. Then they need to listen to the patrons' feedback. Are they getting it? Are they asking questions? What do they have to go back and cover again? And finally, they need to let go. Let the patron take over and walk away, the SEL approach. So just to reiterate, all of this training falls under best practice for teaching. We're teaching them something new where they're learning it. They're getting plenty of hands-on practice. But for the teenagers, the application part is when they go ahead and become teachers. Some of it they'll be assisting, and some they're going to be teaching on their own. Most importantly, for us and for them, we just have to remember to be patient.
Morning, everybody. I'm going to move forward from here and talk a little bit about where do we go, what we've learned, and how can we use what we've learned. The first aspect is in terms of partners. I think this is something that the library already knows, but we realized really for our project how much faster we could move forward with good partners. Those folks who are really on the cutting edge of technology and the cutting edge of whatever it is that we decide to, whatever project we decide to teach the youth as we go forward. We want to tap into the local talent, and one example of this that was sort of a serendipitous thing that happened when we were just getting started with the project. Jeannie happened to have been invited to the Newcastle County TV station for something completely different, and she mentioned, you know, that we were just starting this project and we already had a feel for where we were headed for it, and they were wildly excited about it. Now, we didn't pursue it much because we were not ready to go forward, but they will likely be a very good partner if we decide to go with the green screen, the storyboarding, the movie making aspect of the technology component that we're going to use in this project. The other piece that we realize in terms of partners is that we need those techies. The only way that we can get this off the ground and keep it going is to have a good resource of folks that are just wild and crazy about technology. Our patrons, library staff, and partners in the community who can really keep this moving forward. And the gentleman who did Makerspace yesterday, you know, one of the things that I really took from that is how people were constantly coming on and off their groups as they were getting going with this. And that was okay, and that's sort of normal. So I think we always need to think about keeping that partner pool in there of folks who can tell us what is that neat thing that's going on out there. Another piece of moving forward is in terms of resources. We felt that at least some funding needs to be looked at for this, possibly grant writing. Another keynote speaker we saw yesterday talked about crowdfunding, and I never really thought about that, but there are a lot of big technological, computer, and whatnot firms up in Newcastle County. I know just through ALTA, having made connections with some of them for our work up in Newcastle County with Inspiration Space. And so perhaps crowdfunding might be a way to go too, where we could get folks interested that would be willing to help us move along with this, or finding partners with lots of money. The other piece of it is in terms of leadership. As Renee said, you know, she got started with this, but it became increasingly difficult to really cover her duties, especially with all of the summer programs that they have going on, and keep this going. So we felt there was some way of trying, you know, we needed some way, if not extra money, carving out someone who can really focus this as their main responsibility to get it going and really have it incorporated into what we're doing. In terms of avenues that we want to explore, one of the things that we thought is, how can we get more of us to be able to do more of this? And I can only assure you, I was not actually sitting there. One of the other things is, you know, how can we offer technology that really excites teens? How can we get them really interested in that T in STEM? Sorry. Other avenues to explore in terms of sustainability. You know, putting a lot of effort to this project, it would be a shame if it wasn't something that was able to keep going forward, because this is actually an area that we're going to have to deal with in the future, and some things that are already becoming outdated, we're needing to look forward, and I know that that's something that we always have to work on. But for kids, we especially in teens, we want to make sure that we're doing things that are forefront and exciting for them. Also, we wanted to think about how we can rapidly deploy technology that gets out there. And that is a challenge, but I think we've spent some time discussing that and how we can do it, but I think that as a library system, that we should talk about that and how we can get not just stuff out there, but get the staff very knowledgeable and comfortable with it and get programs going much more quickly than we've been able to. This is an example, if you recognize our famous person in here, this is an example of the green screening technology that was used at Brandywine 100 for a recent Back to the Future event that they had. And then just end this piece with a quote. Again, this was from an intercession that I watched from a conference. The missions of libraries will not change. The way librarians accomplish their mission will change. And that really kind of helped me to focus, to understand our whole shift a little bit better. The last thing that we're going to do is take, each of us is going to spend just a little bit of time talking personally about what we got out of the project. You know, for me, I was joined with a bunch of folks from Newcastle County, which actually wound up being a wonderful experience because now I have great connections. But I also have to think about what I can do with this in Sussex County. And I am very encouraged by what I know that we can already do, dusting off some of the equipment that has been in my areas and other libraries, and really putting them to use so that people can see the fun in them. I realize that I don't have to be so intimidated with some of this new kind of fun technology. It's much easier. It was really, my barrier was in my mind more than actually not being able to do it. And the other thing I just wanted to end with myself is having met all of you, wonderful I-Lead members. I have a very positive outlook what's going to happen within Delaware libraries. We hear so much about, well, libraries, books, where are things going? You're outdated, but I can see us really moving forward at this point, and it's real. I know it's really energized me and made me feel like a more competent coordinator, not for the job piece and helping out with that, but really assisting the library, the other libraries in Sussex County, in sharing what's out there and providing some technical assistance and events and that sort of thing.
I just wanted to thank I-Lead and all of the coordinators, because this has been just a very eye-opening experience. I've just had so many positive experiences, and it's made me so excited to go back to work and see what things we can do there to make the library work better and just have more fun on the job. So I just am really excited about the possibilities that are out there, and I-Lead has given me the chance to just see what that is.
I'm really grateful to have had this opportunity. I-Lead has been really re-energizing for me. I feel like I'm right back at the beginning of my career, which is a great feeling, and I feel that everything I learned here I can apply on other, all my programs and my interactions with my colleagues in Delaware and across the nation. It was really great. Thank you.
And finally, I want to say that I-Lead has been a fantastic experience for me, because I got to meet people outside my own library and even outside my own county whom I never would have met otherwise. It's been a great connection for me. I feel like I'm part of something bigger than myself, and I definitely know I can call on other people now when I need to share ideas. That would be wonderful. And we want to particularly say a big thank you to Serena and Sonia and Katie and everyone at DDL and everyone who was behind bringing this program to Delaware. It's been absolutely fantastic. The only thing is left to say is very good, very good, yay! Very